There is potentially 100 hours of audio recordings of Jeffrey Epstein describing in detail his relationship with Donald Trump and what they would do together. This, according to author Michael Wolff, who's got receipts, folks. He dropped one of those audio recordings on his new podcast. It's called the Fire and Fury Podcast. This is an audio recording of Jeffrey Epstein taken in 2017 when Epstein was still a free man at that time. And he was talking about his ongoing relationship with Donald Trump at that time in 2017. Let's play this clip from the Fire and Fury Podcast. Let's play it right now.
I think we have a snippet from one of the conversations that I recorded with Epstein, and I think this was in a restaurant in 2017.
His people fight each other.
Right.
And then have outsiders. He sort of poisons the well outside. He will tell 10 people Bannon's a scumbag, and Priest is not doing a good job, and Kelly has a big mouth. What do you think? Jamie Dimon says you're a problem, and I shouldn't keep you. And I spoke to Carl Icahn, and Carl thinks I need a new spokesperson. So Kelly, even though I hired Kellyanne's husband, Kellyanne's just too much of a wild card. And then he tells Bannon, I really want to keep you, but Kellyanne hates you.
I have more than dozens. I probably have 100 hours of Epstein talking about the inner workings of the Trump White House and about his long-standing, deep relationship with Donald Trump.
So, folks, here's the story from the Daily Beast. I want to read this story with you about that audio recording, but then there's more from Michael Wolff, who took that audio recording of Jeffrey Epstein at a restaurant in 2017, because Michael Wolff also claims that Jeffrey Epstein showed him photos of Donald Trump with topless young girls sitting on his lap. And Wolff claims he saw these photos himself, that they were in a vault by Epstein that was seized by the FBI in or around 2019 before Epstein mysteriously died. Lot to unpack here. First, let's read the first story on the Daily Beast together. Listen to Jeffrey Epstein spill intel on Donald Trump's White House. Michael Wolff, the explosive chronicler of Donald Trump's 4 years in the White House, has released what he says is a recording of Jeffrey Epstein, who died in 2019. Wolff released the tape on his podcast Fire and Fury. He says it was made in a restaurant in 2017, most probably in the Soho branch of a restaurant in Manhattan. Epstein can be heard speaking over individuals at the establishment. Epstein is referring to former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon, former White House chief of staff Reince Priebus, and former White House senior counselor Kellyanne Conway, whose then husband George Conway was briefly considered for positions in Trump's Department of Justice. The recording seems to show that Epstein and Trump were close enough for the disgraced sex offender to know how Trump ruled his White House by dividing and conquering his staff. It should be noted that Donald Trump claimed that he had cut off any relationship with Epstein well before then. Another lie of Donald Trump. One of the other lies, obviously, he's told. Here's the next story by the Daily Beast. 2 October surprises back to back. This one is called Epstein Showed Me Photos of Trump with Topless Young Women. Let's just call it what it is. Girls sitting in his lap, claims author. Jeffrey Epstein showed off photos of Donald Trump with topless young girls sitting in his lap, the controversial author Michael Wolff has alleged. The pedophile financier had about half a dozen pictures which showed Trump by the pool with multiple young girls, Wolff claimed on his podcast Fire and Fury. They were taken in the late 1990s at Epstein's Palm Beach home, where he victimized dozens of underage girls, along with his procurer, aka his sex trafficker, Ghislaine Maxwell, who, by the way, Donald Donald Trump wished her well and was sending her coded messages at her sex trafficking trial. I will play that for you shortly. Wolf alleged that they were in Epstein's safe, which the FBI seized when they raided his homes in New York and Palm Beach in July 2019. The massive haul of evidence taken by the feds has never been made public, and while prosecutors disclosed after the raid that they had hundreds of photos of girls and young women, they have never offered any more details of them. Okay, that's that. Let's unpack the Donald Trump-Epstein relationship, which you know we've been covering meticulously here at the MeidasTouch Network. In 2002, Donald Trump told New York Magazine the following: "I've known Jeffrey Epstein for 15 years. He's a terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do. Many of them are on the younger side." He's referring to girls on the younger side who Epstein trafficked. That's what Donald Trump told New York Magazine in 2002. Donald Trump is all over the Epstein files. He appears on Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs at least 7 times. Here are the receipts straight from the records of Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal case. Let's take a look right now at deposition transcripts where women who were sex trafficked by Epstein say that they were brought to Trump casinos. Here's one of those depositions from one of the sex trafficking victims. "So we were sitting there and the pilots told me," that's a victim, "to go back and tell Epstein that we can't land in New York and that we were going to have to land in Atlantic City. Jeffrey Epstein said, 'Great, we'll call up Trump and we'll go to,' I don't recall the name of the casino, but we'll end up going to that casino." Other data points. Right now, Donald Trump is flying around in the plane used by Jeffrey Epstein to sex traffic young girls. That's right. Donald Trump is on a Gulfstream that was purchased through an estate sale, but it is Jeffrey Epstein's plane, the plane that Donald Trump's name appears on those flight logs. Just some data that occurred this week. Donald Trump, this is a new article from the Daily Mail. Donald Trump jumped on a blonde 6'1" model, groped her, molested her while she tried to fight him off at a beauty pageant in 1993, a new victim alleges. This is her allegations. Donald Trump denies it. I should state also, Donald Trump has said Michael Wolff is lying. Donald Trump denies all of that as well. Maybe that's Donald Trump's perspective right there, but you can be the judge yourself. She also said, this woman said, who this 1993 beauty pageant contestant who alleges Donald Trump groped her, said that Trump was working with Jeffrey Epstein to recruit young women for parties at Mar-a-Lago. That follows another story from last week. Donald Trump groped me in what felt like a twisted game with Jeffrey Epstein, former model alleges. Her name is Stacey Williams, Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. She alleges that in 1993, Jeffrey Epstein brought her to Donald Trump's office building and Donald Trump started groping her, touching her breasts, touching her body, and playing a sick, twisted game with her in front of Jeffrey Epstein. In other words, molesting her. That's something that Donald Trump denies there as well. It should be noted also that a story from New York Magazine previously, remembering the time Jeffrey Epstein would fly on Donald Trump's plane. Individuals recount that they did board Donald Trump's plane with women of indeterminate age. I couldn't tell if she was 15 or 20 because she was dressed up and quite made up, so it was hard to tell. There are all these photographs as well of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein dancing and partying together. There's that video where Donald Trump tells some nasty and disgusting so-called joke to Jeffrey Epstein, and Epstein's like cracking up as they're looking at women and partying together. Donald Trump would bring his kids around Jeffrey Epstein frequently. It should also be noted that at Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal trial, there was a 14-year-old girl who went by the pseudonym Jane Doe, 14 years old at the time, said that she was introduced to Donald Trump by Jeffrey Epstein. This is someone who's different than the other stories that I just shared with you. Also, Jeffrey Epstein would find girls to sex traffic at Mar-a-Lago. This is undisputed fact. One of Epstein's victims was someone by the name of Virginia Giuffre. Virginia Giuffre was homeless. She got a job at Mar-a-Lago. Ghislaine Maxwell found Giuffre at Mar-a-Lago, brought her over to Epstein, had her do massages for Epstein. Epstein then sex trafficked her, but she was found originally at Mar-a-Lago by Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking operation. Again, another undisputed fact there. Let's take a look at this as well. This is from the Sunday Mirror, November 1997. How sweet, Trump's Brit of all right. Just weeks after ditching his second wife, America's known billionaire Donald Trump, fallen under the spell of a 20-year-old English girl. Trump, 50, who has failed in his bid to secure the services of Princess Diana's butler, Paul Burrell, was in search of a British trophy when he met this young model. Several American millionaires already had their eyes on this young model. This young model was there with Robert Maxwell's daughter, Ghislaine, who has introduced several of her attractive friends to the property developer. In other words, Ghislaine Maxwell was introducing girls to Donald Trump. And guess what it says in this article as well? It says none of his would-be rivals had the vast mansion in Florida did like the one he has in Mar-a-Lago. And also notice what they say here. After their meeting, Trump flew Madame Maxwell and the young model, calling Ghislaine Maxwell a madam at that time. And that article was written in real time in 1997. Let's also talk about the yacht parties Donald Trump was having in the 1990s when Donald Trump was hosting beauty pageants for preteens and teenagers who dressed like this. This is a competition called the Look of the Year Finale, 1991. Look at these little girls right here. These are little girls we are looking at. The night before this event, Donald Trump hosted a yacht event in Manhattan on a yacht called the Spirit of New York. Here's how it was described by The Guardian. On September 1, 1991, a large private yacht cruised towards the Statue of Liberty. It was a clear, breezy evening, and from the upper deck of the Spirit of New York, a golden sunset could be seen glinting off the Manhattan skyline. Downstairs, a party was in flow. Scores of girls, teenage girls, in evening dresses and miniskirts, some as young as 14 years old, dance under disco lights. It could have been a high school prom were it not for the crowd of older men surrounding them. The crowd of older men surrounding them. As the evening wore on, some of the men, many old enough to be the girls' fathers or even grandfathers, joined them on the dance floor, pressing themselves against the girls. One balding man in a suit wrapped his arms around two young models, leering into a film camera that was documenting the evening. Can you get me some beautiful women around me? In other words, girls around me. What was that? Donald Trump's Look of the Year. You see the photos of Donald Trump right there. Teen models, powerful men, and private dinners when Trump hosted the Look of the Year competition that was on that yacht right there. How despicable can you get? I should also bring up this as well. Steve Bannon contacted Jeffrey Epstein over worries he would flip on Trump. New book claims. This article was published back in October 16, 2021. You were the only person I was afraid of during the campaign, Bannon allegedly told Jeffrey Epstein. I have more receipts and more data, but I think you get the point right there. Oh, I may as well show you this as well. Here's what Donald Trump said about Ghislaine Maxwell, who sex trafficked for Epstein. Donald Trump wished her well. Here Donald Trump is at a press conference when asked, he goes, I wish her well. Here, play this clip.
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and so a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
Mr. President.
And here recently, Donald Trump was being interviewed by Fox News, shouldn't even be called news, and they asked him if he would declassify the Epstein files. And he says in response, I guess I would. I think that's less so because you don't want to affect people's lives if there's phony stuff in there. Is that what's in the vault that the FBI took in 2019 that Epstein said was saying to Michael Wolff allegedly? Let's dig deeper, folks. But I give you all of those data points. So when people go, oh, the Epstein list, Trump's the main person on the Epstein. Over and over again, his name appears. Call logs, deposition transcripts, flight logs. Epstein was on his plane, partied together. Mar-a-Lago is where Epstein found women. Just over and over again. Wake up, people, to what's going on. Wake up to the depravity, the sickness that is this Donald Trump and everything he represents. But you have the data now. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.